Hello, my name's Marcus. This is a tutorial explaining how to get your enemy textures into Doom 3. What you'll need is your modified Doom 3 textures that you've changed. We're going to need to create an MTR file, a material file, which just tells Doom where the textures are, how to layer them, what kind of effects they're going to have. We're going to need to create a skin file which lists all the possible skins for one model. Good example of this is the imp. Halfway through the game, it turns into a red sort of rocky imp that's in hell. That's just a good example of actually the skin coming into action and changing. So let's get this show on the road. You'll find the original Doom 3 textures in pack 0 in the base folder. In pack 000, not pack 000, sorry. Pack 002, models, monsters, and there they are. In this case though, these textures are of the fatty zombie. So they're in a zombie and there's fatty, okay? These textures were created by a fantastic enemy skinner called Sergeant Carlo. You may have seen some of his work on the Medal of Honor and Castle Wolfenstein community websites, so check out his stuff, he's got some good stuff. And we need to start by actually copying this file structure. Okay, so the first file is going to be models. Inside there is monsters. I'll spell it right. Inside monsters, because it's a zombie, we're going to create a folder called zombie. Right, and instead of creating a fatty folder, we're not replacing the texture, we're actually adding a skin that we can use to the original. We're going to create a folder and call this fatty cop, okay? We can call it whatever we want. And you'll notice that the files are also called fatty cop. So I'm going to stick them in there. Okay, that's almost halfway there. Now we need to create a material file. Now the material file is much more complicated for an enemy than it is just for a texture that's going to be applied to a wall, because there's other things that you need to take into account, like how it dissolves when it dies, and the high poly model, and other things like that. So the easiest way to get the information is actually get the information from the material file in Doom 3. So if we go to pack 000 in the base folder, you'll notice that the actual all the material files are actually stored in a material folder. So we're going to create a new folder called materials. So it's going to be in there, and there should be one that says monsters. There it is, monsters. Monsters MTR. We'll load that up in Notepad. It's a massive file. Okay. But you'll notice that they always start with the actual model, the actual enemy type. So, you know, if you keep your eye open, you'll find your monster you've changed. So I'm just going to find my fatty zombie. Okay, where are you? There he is, fatty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that info, close that down, load Notepad, and we'll paste that in there. And we need to change the information in this so it's looking at our files instead of the actual original files. And all this should almost be right because we copied the file structure pretty similar up to that point. So it says fatty cop. So instead of that being just fatty, we're going to change that to fatty cop. And I'm going to name the last bit as our file, so it's going to be fatty cop. I'm just going to copy that part so it's easy to make changes. So the specular map is in there, and the specular map you'll notice is also, they're all called fatty cop, specular, local, height, diffuse. So the bump map is going to be that. The diffuse is going to be that as well. There should be another one. There it is. There's our height map. Paste. Now the only one that we don't change, actually there's one there as well. Okay, there we are. So they're all changed. Now the only one that we don't change is this line, which is actually referring to the high poly version of our enemy. Okay, which we want to keep the same. So models, monsters, zombie, fatty, high, LWO. So with that done, we can save this now. So file, save as. Got the desktop, and we're going to save it in the materials folder we created. Change this save as type all files, and I'm going to save this as our zombies.mtr, because mtr is the file type that Doom reads. Close that down, and there it is. There's our mtr file. We can just keep adding more files to that, materials to that if we needed to. Now, the skins. Now it's more fiddly than complicated, but and it takes a bit of playing around with when you first start. But you'll notice that all the skins that are used in the game for the players and the map models and weapons and stuff are stored in a folder called skins. So, skins. And like the material, we can actually rip the information we need from the skin in Doom 3. Now, depending on what creature you picked, there's monsters. I'm going to pick the zombie one because I know my zombies in there. I'm going to find the fatty. Okay, so let's just copy zfat. Copy. Load up Notepad. All these files load up in Notepad. Now, there's actually a lot of materials that actually make up what the fat zombie is in Doom. Okay, we've got fatty damage file. We've got monkey wrench, and we've got the skeleton 01 texture. Okay. But you notice that the texture that we actually want to change isn't there, okay, which would be models, monsters, zombie, and just fatty. Okay, but at the moment we've got fatty damage, monkey wrench, and skeleton. We need to load up the zombie skin again and go back to where the fatty is, and we need to find in another skin section where the original file is. So here it is. So models, monsters, zombie, fatty. That's actually the texture that we've changed and we want to change to ours. So I'm going to copy that, close that down, and I'm just going to return and add a new line. Okay. And you notice there's these little spaces. If we just tab these out so we can see better what we're doing. Okay, so we've got fatty damage, monkey wrench, and skeleton. Okay. Now these are all the graphical elements that actually make up our the zombie that's in Doom 3. Okay. Now on this side is what the texture in Doom 3 is, and on this side is what we want to change the texture to. Okay. So let's add in. Oops, daisy. Models. Monsters. Zombie. Fatty cop. Okay, and we'll just end it with the name of our files, which is fatty cop. Okay. So now the original texture is now being changed with this texture, and all the other textures like the monkey wrench, the fatty damage, and the skeleton are being changed to a no draw. Okay. No draw is actually a texture in Doom 3 that has a property that tells Doom, the actual engine, not to draw what's applied to it. Okay. If I made a wall and applied a no draw to it, then the engine just wouldn't draw that wall in the actual game. It would become invisible, and it's like a switching off function, really. You know, I'm replacing the original texture with mine, and I'm switching off all these other elements. Okay, so all I'm left with is my texture. Okay, hope that made a little bit of sense. And the reason why I've copied all this data and then added this is just to cover my own back, really. If I'm missing a texture that should be in the skin that's being changed, then you're going to get like what looks like Z fighting, where you'll get like the original texture will still be visible, as well as your texture, and they'll be fighting for visible space. Okay, so just to cover my own back, I've included all the elements that make up the fatty zombie in Doom, and I'm just applying a no draw to them. Okay. So with that done, we need to change this line. Now this line is what's used in the editor. Okay. So if you imagine this bit is the key, and this part is going to be the value. Okay, that we add to our zombie to change the original skin to that. So what I'm going to do is copy that line, copy, and I'm just going to paste to there. So now it's skins, models, monsters, zombie, and fatty cop. I've not included the file name. I'm just including the folder, and that's it. Okay. So when we add that into the editor, our zombie will change to that. File, save as. I'm going to save it in our skins folder, all, and I'm going to call this skins our zombie dot skin. Okay, save, and we can close that down. Yep. Now there's our skin file. We can now compress this into a PK4. So we'll add to archive, zip, best compression, pack 020 dot pk4. Okay, there it is. There's our new files for our skins. Well, the zombie skin is actually it seems to be more complicated than any of the others, because like there's so many different versions of the actual zombie, fat zombie. Like so you may run into less problems if you're just skinning an imp or something, or a cacodemon. So let's stick this in our mod folder. So best damn mod on the net. I'm just going to delete that, and we'll whack that in there. What am I doing? Sorry. Confusion. We'll just delete that. Let's. Oops, daisy. I just think I've just deleted. There it is. I just deleted the pack 002 from the base folder. That was a bit bizarre. Okay, in the mod folder, we're just going to apply that to that, which is what I originally wanted to do. Now we're going to go into the Doom 3. Speed, alarm, mods, best damn mod. Okay, now we're going to go into the editor. Let's create a quick room. Just drag that up there. Media, textures, wall. That'll do. Hollow it out. Let's stick in a light. There we go. Let's stick in an info player start. There we go. Now we're going to stick in our fat zombie. So we're going to go to monsters, wherever you are. Monster zombie fat. There he is. Stick him down there like so. If we hit F3 and then F7 to render, you'll notice that he's still got his original skin on, which is good. If we select him, go to into the Entity tab, and just like I said before, like this line is going to be our key, and this bit is going to be our value, if you imagine. So the key is going to be skin, and the value is going to be skins. Models, monsters, is it? Monsters. This needs to be spot on, otherwise it won't work. Zombie and fatty cop. If we hit enter, it will add the new values to his properties. Hit F3, F7, and there he is. There's his nice new cop uniform. If I just quickly save this, save as, test map, save, yes. Hit BSP. Okay, it's all right. I'm going to hit F2. Bring down the console, type in map test. There he is. There's his nice new uniform. Have that, fat knacker. Come on. Oof. Oh, that was a good shot. Have that. Cool. So, yeah, that's how to do it, really. I know I probably faffed up in a few areas explaining, but I hope just seeing someone do that has helped a little bit, and I hope to see some excellent skins out there. Catch you later.